So let's admit it, your mind is a bitch. It's just defaulting to negative thinking rather than positive thinking. The thing about thinking negative thoughts is they make you feel and act negative. Think about it. Your actions are dependent on your feelings. Your feelings are dependent on your thoughts, and your thoughts are dependent on your self-image. In my opinion, the root cause of negative thoughts and everything is your self-image. Self-image is just simply how you see yourself, how you perceive yourself, who you think you are. And of course, if we're talking about self-image, you have to shout out the book Psycho Cybernetics, because to me that's like the best book in the game. From what I learned from that book is self-image gets implanted by cause of three things: through intensity, authoritative figures, and consistency. So the thing about trying to get rid of negative thoughts is if you just focus on the negative thoughts alone, you're not really going to make much progress. Just think about it like if you are feeling headache and you just take drugs to cure the headache, that headache might not go away because the problem might not actually be the headache. The problem might actually be a bigger disease like malaria, for example. And just taking drugs to like get rid of the headache, yes, it will reduce the headache, it will help a little, but it doesn't solve the main problem, which is that malaria. And in this case, just say no, I'm not going to take negative thoughts, we must think positive and everything. It does help, but it doesn't solve the root cause, which is your self-image. So the cure to thinking negative thoughts is to hack our self-image. The first thing I will tell you to do, and it's common advice, I've heard this many times, is to just think more positive thoughts. Say nicer things to yourself, visualize a lot more. You will sometimes just catch yourself by default just saying, like, I'm very stupid. Maybe for example, you are clumsy and you mess up, you knock something over and it falls, you just, I'm so stupid. If you see some cute girl coming by and you are having, you feel like going to talk to her, but you're like, I'm not good enough, like nobody can ever even like me anyway. Or you're walking on the road and you see some fancy car drive by and you're like, I can never reach there. Like the more you say all those stuff, all those bad things to yourself, the more deeply rooted it gets into you. It's almost like because you have been saying them to yourself, you have already leveled up in this like negative thought cycle. Also the point that you are maybe at level 70 now, because throughout your life that's what you have been saying to yourself, you're at level 70. So the more you keep doing it, you just keep leveling up 71, 72, 73. So you have to start saying nicer things to yourself and start thinking more pleasant thoughts. So like maybe you catch yourself, maybe you knock something over and you're like, I'm so stupid. You say no, I made a mistake. Yeah, maybe I'm a little bit clumsy, but no big deal. Like, don't beat yourself about it. I think this one is a life hack right here, is to visualize a lot more. It seems that your mind doesn't really know the difference between imagination and reality, especially if you start to make the imagination feel very, very, very real. So you might think, there are many studies that have showed this before, so I don't think this is only a new thing I'm saying. But if you still have limiting beliefs that was not true for whatever reason, I want you to just sit down right now and just think about something sexy. You have watched porn video, you dirty motherfucker. Think about the last porn video you watched. Fantasize about the woman you saw, her curves and everything. What I'm trying to get you to do is, as you start to think about it, you start to notice your dick starts to get hard. It seems like you didn't even touch yourself, you didn't do anything. Like, you just thought about it, and all of a sudden your distance getting hard. So that's not a very appropriate example to use. But a better example is to think about yourself getting chased by a dog. Close your eyes right now. Do this with me. Close your eyes. Imagine you're walking on the road, coming back from work or from school or something, and you're just walking, and rain starts falling. So the rain is getting heavier and heavier, and you're feeling like starting to feel cold. You're starting to shiver. Then all of a sudden you hear something heavy coming behind you, and you look and you see this dog. You start to sprint. Just even for me doing that illustration alone, I noticed inside my body my adrenaline started to go up. I started to feel more like fight or flight. Just me that started to visualize. I started feeling a lot more tense now, like I want to run. But I'm just in my room here, like talking to you. There's no dog. Yes, rain is drizzling, but I'm not outside. Like, what I'm trying to say is, like, your brain is extremely powerful, and many of us don't use it. We just use it for like bullshit. You have to start thinking about these things. Like, you have to actually put the pictures in your head. The way I've noticed is like your mind is going to by default just think of negative nonsense, stupid things that don't really help you. So you have to almost forcefully put those thoughts and those words inside your head. The way I found that is helping me personally is immediately I wake up, after I do my morning routine, I made it part of my morning routine, is to just sit down there for 10 minutes and just close my eyes and just visualize the kind of life I want to live. And not just visualize, actually like immerse myself into that world. Because many times, especially when I do it properly, you look and you see the details, you feel this thing, you actually imagine what would this feel like if I'm actually experiencing this. You almost notice your body reacting to it. Many of all this, think positive mindsets, affirmation, and everything. This is where they just stop. They just say, oh, go and think positively, which, like, it does help. This is level 1. The next level for me to that, step 2, is to act in accord to the way you have been thinking. Remember what I said earlier: consistency, intensity, and authoritative figure. What does this mean? The reason why you have your self-image is usually the way it is. There are many reasons, but one of the reasons is like consistency, intensity, and authoritative figure. So consistency, what this means is when you were 8 years old and your parents kept telling you you are not good enough, you are very clumsy, you are very lazy. That's consistency. You heard this when you were 4, you heard this when you were 8, you heard this when you were 12, you heard this when you were 16, you heard this when you were 18. Now you're 20, 22, and you see it from friends. And like, even though nobody really tells you to your face, it's just like playing in your head because you have been hearing it all your life. That's the consistency. Intensity, your father said it's like here in Nigeria, if you do poorly in school, they take belts or cane and beat the shit out of you. So something like that's intensity. Your father tells you you're very lazy, then he picks up this stick and uses it to hit you. Or maybe your mom comes to pick you up from school and you were playing around and she's yelling at you in front of your friends and everybody that is looking. That's intensity. So that's like that intense feeling literally ingrains it into your body. Then authoritative figure, your father says it to you, your mother says it to you, your teacher in school says it to you. Stuff like that. So you can't really get an authoritative figure, you can't really get your father to sit down when you're 30 years old and tell you, you're good enough, you can make it, you'll be successful in life. But you can do that to yourself. So let's assume you want to be more confident and you want to stop feeling like a loser. Of course, like what I've just discussed, the first step is to like close your eyes every morning and visualize it in details, how you actually want your life to be like. So the second step after that is to actually act in a way that makes you feel confident. You can start with small things by just like, when you're walking, just like stand up straight up, bring out your chest and look forward. Like when you're walking, instead of looking down, like look ahead and look at the person. You're walking on the road, somebody is coming towards you, look at the person, hold eye contact with the person for a few seconds and look away. Like always look straight ahead. Don't like slouch and look down and walk like a little bitch. Once you really get that intensity, that authority, like that intensity source, you can go and do something crazy, like you go to public, for example, and there's a very cute girl sitting by and she's there with her friends. Maybe there are like 5 of them, and you see this particular girl, she's sitting there, maybe there are like 5 of them. I want to go and talk to her. Like even if you stand up from where you're sitting and you go and talk to her, and even if everything goes wrong, which it probably will, and they all laugh at you, like that feeling of doing that stuff in front of everybody, that intense feeling, that pressure, because it's like kind of intimidating. Everybody, those her and her friends that laugh at you, and every other person sitting around there is going to watch you, and that's like intense. But if you still choose to do it anyways, guess what that does for your self-image. Like it starts to make you see yourself as this, like I actually did it, I actually have balls. It doesn't just have to be like girls in general. Maybe for example your workplace, you can walk up to your boss and go and meet him to tell him to give you a raise or ask for something, and it also does the same. So if everything goes wrong and they say no, which is what will probably happen, you just get that feeling that I actually did it, like I actually had balls and I did it. And the more you do stuff like that, the more intense things you do like that, the more confident you're going to be. Those are the 2 main ways now found to get rid of negative thoughts. Like first of all, start forcefully thinking about positive things. Like once again, I'm going to recommend the book Psycho-Cybernetics. Like that book is awesome. Go and read that book. It's explains it a lot more than I can ever do. Then the second one is to act in ways that actually make you feel confident. If you say you want to be a confident person, look for yourself, because the things are your brain is not stupid. Like you're not stupid. If you tell yourself, oh, I'm this confident person, I close your eyes and you're always visualizing this, you being confident and everything, but you actually don't do anything, your brain will know that you're bullshitting yourself. But if you visualize that and you actually in your day-to-day life implement actions like that and make you feel confident, that actually prove to yourself you're a confident person, over time you're eventually going to be a confident person. And the last tip I'll just leave you with is to stop thinking negative thoughts. You have to stop doing negative things. If you watch the news, you spend all day on social media, you jerk off to porn, you play video games all day and you don't do anything meaningful with your life, you hang around negative friends, and of course you're going to be a negative person, of course you're going to feel negative thoughts and everything. So you have to cut out all those negative stuff in your life, get onto the good self-improvement habits, especially meditating, journaling, and spending time in nature, but just the good self-improvement habits in general. Like you already know what they are. Maybe I might make another video about it, but you probably already know what they are. Like start doing the right things, because the more positive things you do, the more positive you're going to feel. Like it's just common sense. It's not going to be happen overnight. Like yes, you want to start thinking more positive and love yourself and have a better self-image and everything. It's not going to happen overnight. Like this could take you months or even years before you actually get to that point that you're actually confident in yourself, that you actually love yourself, that your brain automatically generates positive thoughts. And every once in a while you find yourself thinking negative and everything. Like just as long as you have this positive mindset that in the future, maybe it might not be today, it might not even be this month or this year, I'm sure going to reach that place eventually. You're going to eventually get there.